Hey, what's up, gang? We're going to give a quick lesson here on the Saxons. All right, the Saxons are a group of barbarians from the northern part of Western Europe. Let's take a look at a map here. Okay. All right, this is a blank map of Europe just to familiarize ourselves with a few things. Let's see what we remember. Down here we go. Here's Italy. All right down here. We've studied this. All right in here. All right, we studied Greece is right here. All right, that was our beginning of the year. We just finished studying Charlemagne and the Franks. That's kind of this area right in here. And now we're going to kind of look up into this area right here. All right, this is where the Saxons came from. Let's take a map. Let's kind of throw it in here. All right, so take a look here at this part of the map. I'm going to shrink it down and show you where it fits. All right, but the Saxons are right here. All right. Up here, take notice we have the Jutes and the Angles. The Angles and the Saxons are eventually going to come together over here in Great Britain, and they're going to be known as the Anglo-Saxons. England gets its name from the Angles, Angleland, England. Let's take this, let's shrink it down a bit, and let's show you how it fits into this map. Right about here, okay? Right about here. So, these Saxons are going to travel from here just across the North Sea to England. This is where they're going to come from. Okay? Now, why did these Saxons travel across to Britain? Okay, well, you got to figure it was around the early 400s AD. And if you remember what happened in 410, Rome got sacked by the Goths. Well, Great Britain was Roman. Okay, as you see down here, this is a Roman. This is King Arthur, as in the movie that we're going to see. Okay, King Arthur and his men are basically guarding Britain at this point in time from these people. These were the original people there. They're the Celts, the Picts. In the movie, they're called woads because of this blue paint, okay, called woad that they wear. All right, so these Picts, Celts, woads are all together. They're basically fighting against the Roman Britons, okay, these guys that are originally there. Well, when Rome starts to fall, Rome says, yo, all Roman soldiers, you need to come and defend Rome. Leave Britain. Forget it. It's cold. It's wet anyway. It's way on the outskirts of the empire. We don't want it anymore. Leave it be, right? Well, these Celts and these Picts and these Woads think, wow, this is an opportunity for us to overtake our island. There are some people who are still there, like this guy, like King Arthur, like some of these Britons that are still there. They're going to defend the island against these guys. So what they do is they actually invite these Saxons over. All right, they invite them over. They say, hey, will you come over and help us defend our island against these guys? And when the Saxons come, they come for a little bit, but they don't leave. They want food, so they keep coming, and they start attacking. They start attacking and attacking and attacking. So in King Arthur, the movie, these Celts and Picts and Woads are going to team up with the Roman Britons to fight these Saxons, but the Saxons just keep coming, and they can't hold them off. So that's why the Saxons eventually are going to take over Great Britain. But in the very beginning, why were they originally there? They were invited. They were asked to come over to help them fight. Okay, thanks, you can go home now. But they didn't. So they begin to settle England. And whether they settled peacefully or drove the Britons from their lands, the Anglo-Saxons took control of most of Britain. Okay, they never conquered Scotland, Wales, or Cornwall. Now, we all know right down the street we have St. Bede's, and I bet many of you don't even know who St. Bede is. But he's a historian who lived during this time, and he wrote about the Saxons. He wrote about the Angles. Okay, he was a doctor of theology and a doctor for the church. Okay, so he wrote about these people, and that's why we know a lot of what we know about the Angles, about the Saxons. He wrote the history of England. Okay, so these Anglo-Saxons brought with them their own religious beliefs. Okay, eventually, because of the arrival of St. Augustine, they're going to convert mostly to Christianity. These Saxons are eventually going to fight the Vikings, which we'll talk about shortly. But when they first got there, they really didn't care much for the Romans, right? They replaced the Roman stone buildings with their own wooden ones. They spoke their own language, and this language that these Saxons spoke, This Anglo-Saxon language is the language that is going to give rise to the English spoken language today. Our language comes from the Anglo-Saxons. Okay? Most of the information we know about the Anglo-Saxons comes from a book called the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which was written under the rule of King Alfred the Great, which we will talk about in a separate lesson. So this rule of Anglo-Saxon, this time period of the Anglo-Saxons, is going to basically take place from 410, the fall of Rome, to about 1066, which is the Battle of Hastings, and we'll look at that as well. We have the Vikings and King Alfred to study, but just understand that the Saxons started out in 410 as these brutish Viking-looking guys, and by the time the Vikings come down in 1066, that the Saxons are extremely civilized, much more civilized than the Vikings are when they come. All right, see ya.